Have you ever been scrolling through eBay, maybe looking for a vintage t-shirt or a rare comic book and thought, you know what? I think I'll buy a town today. Sounds completely bonkers, right? Well, for one person back in 2002, that wasn't a joke, it was a reality. Today, we're diving into the bizarre and fascinating story of Bridgeville, California, the first town in history to be sold on an online auction. Imagine a tiny, rustic town nestled in the redwood forests of Northern California. A place with a population so small, you could probably fit everyone into a large school bus. That's Bridgeville for you. At the turn of the millennium, its population hovered around just 25 people. It had a post office, a few houses, some cabins, and a history stretching back to the 19th century. But by 2002, the town was, for all intents and purposes, up for sale. So how does an entire town end up on eBay, listed alongside used cars and antique furniture? The story starts with the Lapple family, who had owned the 83-acre property for about 30 years. After trying to sell it the old-fashioned way for a year, with no luck, they decided to try something different. They listed Bridgeville on eBay, a move that was both a stroke of marketing genius and a sign of the dot-com Wild West mentality. The starting bid, a cool $1.77 million. The listing was unlike anything anyone had ever seen. It wasn't just land. The winner would get 10 houses, 4 cabins, a fully operational post office, and even a historic cemetery. Oh, and they threw in a tractor for good measure. The auction captured the world's imagination. News outlets from all over the globe picked up the story. It was the ultimate impulse buy, a real-life version of a board game where you could literally own the board. People were fascinated. Who would buy a town? And what would they do with it? The bidding was intense. It was a global spectacle. And when the virtual gavel finally fell, the winning bid was $1.78 million. The bidder was an anonymous businessman from Los Angeles. The world held its breath. A new chapter for Bridgeville was about to begin. But this wasn't the end of the story. In fact, it was just the beginning of a very strange and winding road for this tiny California town. The new owner had grand plans, but they never quite materialized. The dream of revitalizing Bridgeville fizzled out, and just a few years later, the town was back on the market. It was sold again, this time to a 25-year-old entertainment manager named Daniel LaPale. He had big dreams of turning Bridgeville into a self-sustaining, eco-friendly community. He wanted to build a retreat, a place for artists and thinkers. He even planned to power the town with solar energy. It sounded like a utopian vision straight out of a movie. But running a town, even a tiny one, is a monumental task. The challenges were immense. The infrastructure was old, the buildings needed repair, and the isolation was a real factor. Tragically, the story took a dark turn. The young owner, overwhelmed by the pressure and personal struggles, took his own life just a few years after buying the town. It was a heartbreaking end to a hopeful chapter. Bridgeville, once a symbol of quirky internet fame, was now shrouded in sadness. After this tragedy, the town's fate was once again uncertain. It was put back up for sale by the owner's mother. This time, the price had dropped significantly. The novelty had worn off, and the reality of owning a remote, aging town had set in. The town was eventually purchased by another entrepreneur who also had his own set of plans. This has been the repeating pattern for Bridgeville, a cycle of hope, ambition, struggle, and sale. So what is Bridgeville like today? It's still there, a quiet testament to a bizarre moment in internet history. The population is still tiny. The post office still operates. The river still flows by. It hasn't become the bustling eco-village or the high-tech retreat that its various owners envisioned. It remains simply Bridgeville, a collection of buildings and stories by a bridge on the Van Dusen River. The story of Bridgeville is more than just a quirky headline. It's a cautionary tale about the difference between a dream and reality. It's easy to get swept up in the romance of owning your own town, of being the mayor, the landlord, and the chief visionary all at once. But the practicalities, the plumbing, the finances, the human element are far less glamorous. It's a reminder that a community is more than just property and buildings. It's about people, history, and a shared sense of place. You can buy the land, but you can't necessarily buy the soul of a town. The eBay auction put Bridgeville on the map in a way it had never been before. It became a piece of pop culture trivia, a symbol of the wild possibilities of the internet age. But for the few residents who call it home, it's just that, home. They've seen owners come and go, dreams rise and fall. Through it all, the town endures. It makes you wonder, what will the next chapter be for this town that was famously for sale? Will it ever find an owner who can make their vision a reality? Or is its destiny to remain a quiet, beautiful, and slightly strange footnote in California's history? Only time will tell. The story of Bridgeville is a powerful reminder that sometimes the most fascinating tales come from the smallest of places. Thanks for joining me on this trip to the town that eBay sold. It's a story that really sticks with you. If you enjoyed this deep dive into a weird and wonderful piece of history, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories you won't find anywhere else. Let me know in the comments, if you could buy any town, what would you do with it? See you in the next video.